MyCV world, welcome back to another video. Something that we use a lot in this warehouse is our warehouse management system called JDA. But we never really know how it's ran, how it's managed, who works on fixing things when they're not working. So today I'm really excited to have Melanie here. She is going to be showing and telling us all about JDA and the support teams that we have. So Melanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you just introduce yourself, what your role is here at CooperVision?
Sure. So my name is Melanie Manzo. I'm the Senior Manager of Distribution Systems at West Hen and also the Global Packaging Systems. I've been at Cooper for about 18 years now. I did leave for about a year and a half and then found my way back. So it's been quite a journey.
Well, welcome back to our location. We have, I know Melanie, she worked in Victor prior, so it's nice to have some Victor faces here. Before we get started, we're going to be using a lot of terminology that people might not be too familiar with, especially when we talk about roles. So you have the production support team members as well as the BSAs. Could you be so kind and kind of give a quick definition so people will be able to follow us?
Sure. So you're right, my team is split into production support and BSA. So our production support team members essentially are responsibility for the day-to-day activities with the warehouse management system. So they manage all of the incoming incidents and tickets, and they work through those, the problem totes and things like that. Our BSA team really focuses on system changes, kind of more of a continuous improvement, some of the bigger project implementations, and then they do some production support if there's escalation needed from the system support team members. So that's kind of, the different responsibilities of each team.
And BSAs are business system analysts, correct?
Correct,
okay.
Yes.
Could you name one of your team members who have that role?
So Rachel is our lead BSA, and then from a system support perspective, Sean is actually our supervisor of system support.
Nice. So I got a big group. About how many people total between the areas? I know you also help support packaging as well.
Correct. So we have 4 system support team members. We have 5 distribution BSAs, and then we have 4 global packaging BSAs.
Big group.
Yes, it's a big group.
Going back to the day-to-day, could you tell me what would your production support team work on their day-to-day, as well as the BSAs on their day-to-day?
So the production support team members typically monitor our service desk application. So when an operator has an issue, whether it's an issue with a tote or maybe they're having issues with ASRS, their first activity is to put in a service desk ticket. So that usually is routed directly to our team, and that's open all day long on our production support team members' PCs. They monitor all the open tickets that come in. What they do from there is, if they get a bunch of tickets at once, they'll prioritize. So is something causing a bigger issue than, a ticket that may be just impacting one person? So they determine that, so they know the order of tickets to work through. And then essentially they resolve all the tickets that come in. We get about 800 tickets per month across all 3 shifts. And then we do have a lot of alerting across the board on our system. So we get email alerts proactively, so we know when something's kind of starting to happen. Yeah. And I think we get about 300 of those alerts per month that we action on.
Wow, so even if, there's only 800 tickets that you're seeing, there's also a lot of stuff in the background that they're handling before it even is becoming a ticket.
Exactly. Yes. So we try to resolve things before operators actually see it.
And let's talk about the BSA's roles. I assume that they're probably also helping with some of these tickets if they cannot be solved, or kind of like hierarchy. And what else are they working on after that?
Yeah, so they work on requests from operations. Requests come in for changes or different functionality that packaging and distribution would like to see in the systems. So we do some evaluation on that, talk to the business. If we do decide to move forward, they'll do all the requirements gathering and essentially start that as a project to make those changes. So they focus on that. There's different variations, right? So some of the changes are smaller, maybe just configurations, pretty simple. And then we have big strategic projects that we work on also, big system implementations like GPS2 that we're currently doing, and some others. The production support team members typically monitor our service desk application. So when an operator has an issue, whether it's an issue with a tote or maybe they're having issues with ASRS, their first activity is to put in a service desk ticket. So that usually is routed directly to our team, and that's open all day long on our production support team members' PCs. They monitor all the open tickets that come in. What they do from there is, if they get a bunch of tickets at once, they'll prioritize. So is something causing a bigger issue than a ticket that may be just impacting one person? So they determine that, so they know the order of tickets to work through. And then essentially they resolve all the tickets that come in. We get about 800 tickets per month across all 3 shifts. And then we do have a lot of alerting across the board on our system. So we get email alerts proactively, so we know when something's kind of starting to happen.
Yeah.
And I think we get about 300 of those alerts per month that we action on.
And as the manager, I assume that your role is to kind of oversee everything and then help with the workflow process and things like that?
Correct. Yeah. So I look at the big picture. So we have a lot of things coming strategically from our senior leadership teams, both the business and from an IT perspective. So we take a look at what's coming for the year, what our objectives are, and then as the year goes forward, we get requests from the business. It might be a customer's requesting something, so we need to take a look at fitting that in as a priority to make those changes. So usually monthly, I kind of take a look at the amount of work that's out there. We may need to reprioritize based on what's happening, but my role is really the bigger picture, what's happening.
Nice. Sounds like everyone is very busy in your department.
We do keep busy, yes.
You might have seen on our YouTube channel, we had some distribution folks go over to Australia to help with their go live and help get them nice and organized. But also your team also was in Australia, as well as various sites within the world helping and support. What type of support is offered from your team to these sites, whether it's a new launch or something else along those lines?
Yes, usually we're helping with big deployments. So most sites have similar sized teams as we do here in West Henrietta, but to resource hypercare and the go live, we very often share resources across sites, so we make sure that go live is successful. So from an Australia perspective, my team was actually involved from the beginning of that project. So we worked through the requirements with the business, we participated in the testing, and then also were there for the deployment and hypercare. So we were fully involved in that project. There are times where we'll just come in for hypercare just so they have an extra set of hands working on issues. So we've done that in Liège, and we're about to do that for Delta Park in a couple weeks. Delta Park's going live with JDA, so we'll be sending a couple resources there for a week or two at a time, just to, again, have an extra set of hands and knowledge.
Yeah, that's nice. That's definitely the definition of partnership,
Mm-hmm.
going where help is needed.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure who remembers, but the UK team and Liège team did come here when we needed their help, so we share resources globally.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
No job doesn't have its challenges, right? Every job does. So what are some of the challenges that your team faces when implementing new technology at CVW? Let's say like the LVPTO as an example.
Sure. It's a big change, new technology. Not only systematically, but even from a business process perspective. So to put all the puzzle pieces together is often a challenge with its complexities. And, we work through the design, not only from a system perspective, but especially when it's automation related, the control engineers and the business. So we have to bring in many members of the operations to help. We typically do a pretty robust test plan. So once we understand how the process works, how the system design is going to work, we'll come up with a pretty good test plan. Obviously, sometimes we don't capture everything. We can't always predict what a user might push. They might do something different that we're not expecting. So we do have challenges, once that goes live. Sometimes there are some challenges to overcome and some fixes. So it's just hard to predict what will happen, but typically we've had some pretty good success partnering with all the different teams and putting automation live.
Yeah, which is awesome, especially with the LVPTO. Are you involved, or you and your team, I guess I should say, at the beginning idea of bringing this technology on site to the actual end of the project? Do they kind of pick your brain and say, hey, what do you think about this? Can we do this here?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes we'll talk about the feasibility and how it would interact with our systems, just to make sure that it makes sense. But once the decision is made, we are absolutely involved from the beginning, because there's always system integrations that need to go along with it.
Always. A terminology that is talked about, maybe not too much right now, but it will be talked about in the future, is the word OneVision. And I know you are involved in the OneVision project in a way. So I was wondering if you can explain what OneVision is and when we can expect it to come to West Hen.
Sure. So just high level, OneVision is really a company initiative to implement a common ERP system across all of our sites. So for us, OneVision will be replacing our bond system with Oracle EBS. Right now, there's not a definitive timeline here, but it will be coming very shortly, I believe.
And that is because we're all trying to get on the same platform and do everything the same way, correct?
Correct. We're trying to streamline business processes globally, make it a little easier, so everyone has the same process across the board.
Melanie, can you share if there was ever like a challenging time for you and your team and how you overcame that obstacle?
Sure. I think last year we were a bit short on resources on our team, so we had several people out due to various reasons. Some were on leave. We obviously had COVID around, so we were pretty short on team members for a while, which put us in a tough situation in making sure that we had the people to support production. So the team was very flexible, willing to move hours to make sure that someone was always here for operations, and that's where not only did the production support team move their shifts, but we had some BSAs step in where they really took on the role of production support. Everyone worked a lot of extra hours and a lot of on-call, but we came out of it, and everyone was was great and very flexible, dedicated to the operation.
We rallied.
We did. We made it work.
It's amazing that, even during the height of COVID, the employees, and, speaking generally, showed up. We didn't want our customers to suffer, so we always gave our best.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. I'm actually going to end this interview with a fun question. I always like to. And my question for you today is, what would you do with $1 million if, let's say, you won the lottery?
I would like to say I would do something fun, but I think I'm too practical. So I would probably put away most of that money, college funds for the kids, invest it. But I would do something fun, travel somewhere fun for a long period of time. I'm not sure I would ever stop working, maybe part-time, just so I could keep going with something.
Yeah.
I'd be too bored sitting at home. But yeah, I think
you're going to be on a trip if you win the
yes,
lottery.
I would be somewhere where the sun is shining all the time.
Well, if that happens and you don't show up to work for a couple of months, I'm going to know that you won the lottery.
Yes, I hope that's the case.
Well, thank you so much for giving this interview, and it's really nice to know the differences and everything that you guys support, because as you did mention, you and your team are on call, and I'm not quite sure how many on calls you get, but it's nice that we have this support around the clock.
Yeah, and we're happy to support. We're happy to help where we can. So.
Yeah, so make sure you submit those tickets if you need anything. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. See you on the next video. Bye.